Welcome to the Mythic Life Podcast. I'm your host today, Sarah Brumett, and I'm actually going to be interviewing Eric Brumett, who is usually the host. And today we're talking about healings. Eric Brumett has been a theta healing practitioner and instructor. What is it, for the last 24 years, Eric?
Yeah, 24 years. This is the 24th year.
And you got your start actually working in New York City as a medical intuitive. So I thought we could really hone in and focus on healing. What is the mindset that allows healing to happen? What are the emotions that need to be processed in order for healing to happen? And what are the blocks? I know that so many people have had amazing transformations working with you. You've certified over 1,000 students in theta healing, teaching them how to do healings. So if you guys are needing healing, you're in the right spot. And lay back, tune in, and let's dive in here, Eric.
Absolutely. Our topic today, what we're really diving into here with healing, it can seem very broad, and our focus, what we bring to sessions and to working with people can be towards their physical, emotional, mental states. It can be reprogramming the subconscious. It can be really working on distresses in people's lives. Today, I think we're really focusing on physical healing, though. And every health condition has a personality to it. It has a character to it. And what we found learning and developing theta healing is that there are specific types of emotions and beliefs that go with different health issues that need to be addressed and resolved in order for that health issue to have an energetic shift to allow for healing to happen. If that healing is miraculous and happening in a session of a theta healing session, if it is through their health treatments with the doctor, it really is the key thing to allow for that healing transformation really to take place.
Why is it so important to work on the personality, as you said, of an illness, the emotions, the beliefs, the thought patterns? Why is that so important in regards to healing a physical illness
Well,
or or an
yeah,
injury, right? Or like there's so many ways that we carry physical pain and disease.
the idea is that every situation we face, if it is in our health, in our mindset, our emotions, the relationships of our life, the situations that occur in our life, everything is a manifestation. We are attracting on every level of our consciousness situations that we then experience and process through and learn from and grow from and form identities with. So the idea is that based off how we are thinking and feeling and what subconscious belief programs we develop, we attract compatible situations to these beliefs. So based off these beliefs, there is a compatible disease or dysfunction or illness that can match it, that actually comes in to bring our beliefs up so that we have to process through. So illness does become a great teacher on levels of our consciousness, but also can get us stuck in subconscious limiting beliefs.
So give me an example of an emotion or a belief pattern that you find comes up a lot when you're working on helping someone heal, helping someone change their physical health, but also their mental health. I think that's important too. I know that like there's a distinction there, but I think it's important too.
So a good example of this is, shall we say, breast cancer? Okay. Breast cancer, it has different components to it, right? There's the consciousness of the tissues, of the lymph, the breast tissue, and the activity of the immune system. What cancer is when there is some type of mutation or um, deformed cell that is acting abnormally. And that abnormal cell can then go through cell division and start to form into something that spreads almost like an infection, but it's not. It's actually your cells that are acting abnormally, and they usually can form into tumors. What we have found in theta healing, and it's really important to know, I'm not a medical doctor, but what we have found in theta healing is that there are certain microbial elements with breast cancer that have a certain consciousness to it. What this usually means, and with the breast tissue, it's the guard of the heart. It's right there on the heart chakra, and it ends up having a lot to do with usually love dynamics, what's happening with um, not sometimes spouses, sometimes family members, siblings, parents, and the challenges and issues of always feeling like I give love and I don't receive it back, and feeling taken advantage of and having this hurt, and then forming this resentment and bitterness from that, and starting to feel scarred and having a, a guard on our heart over this. And so when I work with people that are facing breast cancer, we're working with the subconscious beliefs and emotions, and having to work on those different components of resentment, but also that pain and hurt. And then when they go through treatment, the relationships usually change. So instead of never really feeling respected and heard, the supportive wife that is taking care of the husband out working all the time and comes home and wants to just watch their shows and have their dinner served for them, and like not giving attention to their wife, and then she's feeling not honored and disrespected and hurt over that. Or maybe there's deeper trauma from the childhood, from feeling neglected or not really feeling seen, and cherished and honored, ends up having these wounds, these hard emotions, these spiritual wounds. And so as we work with these beliefs and resolve these traumas, these issues, these relationship dynamics, there's a shift in the consciousness of the person. They start to think differently. They identify themselves differently. They carry more of a sense of worth. They have that resolve, and then they end up learning, instead of having to be sick in order to receive love back and have people be kind and think of them and have consideration for them, that they can actually, with their worth, have these components. Big piece of self-worth does relate to estrogen, and a lot of breast cancer is a cancer that feeds on estrogen. So what is happening in the body, what's happening in the physiology, is then mirrored in the patterns and emotions and beliefs that the person is carrying on a subconscious level, and what has been happening in their life and in their past.
Whoa, you just broke it down real time. I have a question. You mentioned microbes, and that's something that, from what I'm hearing you say, I think a lot of dis-ease in the body are caused by a disbalance with our microbes. And certainly we can be exposed to heavy metals, we can be exposed to different chemicals, EMFs, all of these different things. So do you have like maybe a little insight onto the emotions or belief patterns that relate to a couple of these more like baseline disbalances in relationship to microbes and these chemicals?
Yeah. So
Can I just and just as like a for our listeners, if you guys are interested, there's a whole theta healing class called Intuitive Anatomy. It's a 3-week class where you learn about the body, the systems, and the beliefs that go with each system. And day one is basically what we're talking about, which is like microbes and chemicals and all the beliefs that attract this disbalance in the body.
and this is something that, the founder of Theta Healing, Vienna, really did an incredible job through doing tens of thousands of sessions and teaching worldwide to really track as she worked with different conditions, really recognizing what the profile was, what the personality trait was, and having that analytical mind, but also intuitive abilities, was able to really map out what emotions and beliefs do relate to different health conditions, because she saw it through the patterns of who she worked with, and
Yeah.
they formulated it to bring it into intuitive anatomy and the disease and disorder book. And so, it's always good references. And, I really have studied them and brought them into practice and really got to see it in action through working with people, that there are certain energies to these microbes. And the thing with bacteria is that there is guilt, regret, shame, and self criticalness with it. So, bacterial overgrowth in the gut, usually there's a disconnection with feeling nurtured and having that calmness and softness and kindness to oneself. And so, people usually are really harsh and hard and critical on themselves, and learn to be critical of themselves by outside people being very critical of them. That then really affects the bacterial balance in the gut, that can cause bacterial overgrowth. So bacteria really has this emotion of hypercritical guilt, regret, and shame, as emotions that go around that. Yeast is really interesting. There is yeast in our foods, but then there is also the yeast that our body produces that's more like an enzyme, even though it kind of is in that field of microbe. Um, and it carries a lot of um, resentment as an emotion. Resentment is kind of like an anger. It's a really interesting emotion. And then as yeast develops in the body, it can start to create procrastination as well. So there's a lack of follow through with things, and putting things off and not wanting to do them as well. Um, let's see what else.
I mean, that was
When
pretty
you
good.
get into parasites, when you get into that place of really dealing with different types of parasites and worms, that can be a lot of feeling sucked dry, not heard, not seen, feeling taken advantage of. No matter what you do, it's never enough, always giving, and it always feels endless. Um,
Is this where it's like one of my questions to you is it usually like always childhood situations, or could it be like a more current situation then triggers people into these places? What do you find is common?
I mean, the subconscious carries beliefs from so many different levels that, yes, we're constantly experiencing and then evolving and maturing our subconscious as well as growing consciously. So we're still creating beliefs and programs and patterns on a subconscious level all the way throughout a lifetime. Um, Typically, there is a deeper root. If I'm working with somebody and we're really honing in and working on beliefs relating to a health condition, we're looking at the patterns that were active within, the 6 months to a year to 2 years before their diagnosis. So there is something there, and from there can be a deeper root of a pattern to a deeper belief. But to really address what relates to the health condition is really looking at what was active leading up to it. um, we are exposed to microbes, and that you know that can be a thing of starting to think and feel differently by moving into a house that is filled with mold. So sometimes the exposure creates the belief as well, and it originates actually from the microbe. um, so these are kind of the interesting places to get into as a practitioner. But when I'm working with people and a theta session, the clients aren't like analyzing themselves. It's a process. We're going through a process of addressing the emotions and beliefs and talking about the patterns that they've been facing in their life, and bringing in those elements of talk therapy and somatic energetic work and emotional process and energetic healing that unfolds the issue, that really lets the person go through a transformation so that they really have a shift in their energy and the way that they think, the way that they feel, the conscious way that they observe the memory. And it's a whole process to it.
So, with ending up with this podcast, like rounding it up, I think it would be really nice to end on the note of what are the key mindsets and energies that allow a healing to take place, that allow someone to actually shift the health of their body. And, whether they're taking supplements, whether they're doing a medical treatment and using theta healing, what is really like those key elements for people to be open to change and to healing?
um, to be open to receiving an energetic healing that affects the physical body, we need to, one, have a knowing and relationship with the emotion of joy. We have to have an experience or memory of being truly healthy that we can recreate from. um, we have to have a belief in the possibility of healing, right? To have a belief, if that is cultural, if that is spiritual, a belief in a healer, a belief in a creator, that opens up to the possibility of change, the possibility of miracle. And we have to have esteem. We have to have a belief of feeling worthy.
Hmm.
These are the key elements that we need as a general baseline to receive healing.
And
Um,
these
and
beliefs that can be worked on, that you can help people adopt and grow into.
Absolutely. When I work with people and we're not feeling that we're getting progress after a session or two, it's always where I go to of really looking at, where are they in their worth, relationship with joy, open to possibilities. And like those are the topics we work on to really develop for them. If that is using the belief work and the download process, um, using meditation and a shift in their mindset and consciousness. It's,
And so my last question is, are you currently taking clients? How can someone get in touch with you?
yeah. I have at times taken breaks from doing sessions, and right now I am just really feeling that passion to support people and be of service. So I am taking clients. I know you're also taking clients. Um, so it's something that is available for people. You can get a hold of us through mythiclife.com, work with us, and there is a whole lot of information and a page there to explore how we're working with people and getting into an initial call or into an initial session to start exploring what it would look like to get that healing accomplished for you.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for sharing your immense wisdom on theta healing, on the beliefs and programs that relate to different illnesses and microbes. I think this was a really illuminating conversation for our audience, and I really enjoyed spending this time with you. I never get bored of it. It's
Ah,
just so fun.
it is. It is. Thank you so much for bringing this topic forward. I'm happy. I hope it really connects with people and helps open the door for people to really get to that bigger healing. If they're working with doctors and going through treatments, it's really important to also address mindset and emotions and patterns that fed into it. Health condition is not just inside. There's always environmental factors, there's emotions, there's beliefs that really help secure the healing and help move beyond healing. So into
Mm.
health. And it's really so important. So whatever people are doing, it's explore it. You know, connect with us. We are available if there are theta healers out there that can help. So
Yes. Thank you so much. All
mm,
right, guys. Have a good week.